Hi, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. Today we're going to continue our discussion on Shadowrun. Of course, it's the 4th edition, but for now, we're going to continue and finish up talking about combat section, and of course, finish talking about vehicles. Now, for vehicles, when a vehicle dodges, it uses its driver's reaction plus the vehicle's handling to dodge out of the way of any kind of attack. If it's a drone, it would use the drone's pilot plus its handling to figure out that. Now, vehicles can take defensive maneuvers. This is effectively a full defense action for vehicles, similar to what a person takes a full defense action. This allows the driver to add their vehicle skill to that dodge chance. So it would be vehicle plus reaction plus or minus handling. If drone does this, it would add its defense soft program in place of what would be your vehicle skill. Now, once a vehicle is hit, it resists damage similar to a person. It uses its body plus its armor to resist damage. If a DV of an attack does not exceed the armor of a vehicle, it automatically does no damage. Now, because vehicles can have a huge amount of body, it's actually recommended you take the 4-to-1. So you remove 4 dice, you get 1 automatic success for vehicles to figure out that you can basically not have to worry about soaking a certain amount of damage. So you can look at their body and do that. So if a vehicle would have a 16 body and be very tough that way, you effectively would have 4 automatic successes to soak damage. Now, similar to knockdown, if the vehicle would take more damage in a single attack than it has for body, then it would effectively have to worry about crashing. Very similar to being knocked down by a person. What you would have to do is the driver would have to make a vehicle skill plus reaction threshold of 3 check to avoid crashing as soon as you're hit with this effect. Should you succeed, you're okay, you keep driving. Should you fail, you crash. What effectively would that be? It would be a ramming attack against whatever object you're hitting, except the vehicle would be taking full damage. So you figure out by the body and speed how much damage through the ramming attack is happening to your vehicle. Now, you can called shot to a vehicle just like you can called shot to a person, but there's a third option for called shot when you're targeting a vehicle. You can actually target a specific part of the vehicle to try to destroy it. Like if you're targeting a windshield or a tire or some kind of sensor or a weapon, for example, and it would be up to the GM how this would affect the vehicle. For example, if you target a tire, it would most likely imply some kind of penalty per tire lost to driving the vehicle. A -2 penalties what's suggested in the book, but that's only the example they give. And you could choose, depending on the circumstances, you can make it even more difficult. Now, you can target passengers in the vehicle, not just people. Passengers of the vehicle do have some advantages against targeting them. They effectively have cover, so that's the first thing. They have a disadvantage that it's harder for them to dodge because they're in a car in some kind of seat. So they have a -2 dodge penalty to dodging out of the way. Now, even if there's enough room maybe that they can move around, you could remove this penalty. Up to you about circumstances. If you're in like a more transport personnel vehicle, maybe they'll have a better chance. Anyway, when you're hitting those person in the vehicle, you would apply the vehicle's armor to their own to figure out how much armor they have. So it's harder to damage them too when you're targeting a person in the vehicle. Now let's talk about gunnery, which is firing from a vehicle or firing weapons attached to a vehicle. It's kind of both of those at the same time. Now, normally, if you're firing a weapon attached to the vehicle, you'd use whatever appropriate weapon skill, plus it would use whatever mode the weapon would be. So if it's got burst fire, single action, that would be the kind of action to use it, and you'd be using your gunnery skill. If you're firing just out of a vehicle, you have a -3, like a handheld weapon of some type, you would have a -3 penalty to all your attack rolls from the movements. As soon as it's mounted to the vehicle, the same weapon, you no longer get those penalties. Now, drone uses its pilot plus targeting to attack the same way that you would be attacking with gunnery skill. Now let's talk about sensors. Sensors are used to detect and sort of target creatures and sort of understand where they are. When you're making a sensor test, you roll sensor plus perception or clear soft plus perception if you're a drone in order to try to target someone. It would be resisted by their infiltration plus their agility if it's a person on foot, or if it's a vehicle, it's infiltration plus vehicle skill plus or minus handling to avoid a vehicle. You can use sensors to detect a person, a character, a creature, or a vehicle. Now, the uses of sensors, you can use it in passive or active targeting with sensors and gunnery. So you have 2 different types. What passive targeting does is you would use the vehicle's sensors instead of your agility when making an attack roll with a type of gun. So effectively, I would be making an attack roll with my gun, and I would use my vehicle's sensors instead of my normal agility as the linked attribute. If you're doing this in this case using the passive targeting, the target's signature whether it's a bonus or penalty, would apply in this case in order to target them. Now, active targeting works a lot differently. So when you're using active targeting, you would have to make a sensor test first in order to detect the target. Whatever hits you would get would be applied as a bonus to the number of dice you would get to target the thing you're actively targeting. So effectively, you roll the sensors, see how much you get, and you add that together to your normal dice pool when targeting something with your gunnery skill. If you don't get any successes, you fail to lock on, and you can't use active targeting against that target. Now, active targeting remains until either you would leave the range of the sensors to target that, or if you would start targeting something else with the active targeting. So that's it for today. I went over some basics of vehicle combat with dodging, soaking damage, targeting people inside, using gunnery, and using sensors. Next episode, I'm going to start talking about the Awakened World and magic. If you have any questions, comments, anything to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows you support the channel, the Empire, and the work I do. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.